There's a reason that my old boss, President Trump, calls him Sleepy, Creepy Joe. You'd think that after 47 years in politics, that Joe Biden could read an autocue. This is a man who, we have Super Tuesday here. It's one of the biggest election events in America. He didn't realize during the campaign that Super Tuesday doesn't occur on Thursday. He's been on a campaign rostrum mixing up his wife with his sister as they're standing right next to him. This is a man who doesn't even know the names of his cabinet ministers. I mean, there's a guy called Javier Becerra, who is his health secretary. That's rather a big deal during the age of COVID. And he called him, as he was accepting him into his cabinet, Baccaria. You'd think the guy would actually know the names of the dozen most important people in his government. It is clear this man is cognitively challenged. He is a senile, creepy old man. And the idea that 81 million people voted for him, well, if you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you, my friend.
And I think, Sebastian, and you'll agree that we shouldn't judge Mr. Biden for his health issues. We should offer sympathy and support. But I think it's a great shame on the Democratic Party to have selected this guy in the first place, because he wasn't exactly, mastermind when he won the nomination.
I've got a personal take on this. I have no mercy for this individual, no pity. This is a man who is a bigot. He's called the segregationist Democrats of the South his fellow gentlemen. This is a man who, as a senator, said, quote, on the floor of the Senate, I don't want my children growing up in a racial jungle. Last year, in an interview with a podcast, he said, if you don't vote for me, quote, you ain't black. And most offensive of all, this is the man who led the quote-unquote high-tech lynching of Judge Clarence Thomas when he was appointed to the Supreme Court, who dared, as a black man, to be a conservative appointee to the Supreme Court. This is the senator who led the charge to have false accusations made against him. So, I don't care what you think about this guy. No mercy, no pity. And there is no room for mercy or pity. Why? Let's be very clear. This is the man who 20 feet away from him, 24 hours a day, is the nuclear football, is the control device to launch nuclear war. The idea, and you're right, that the bigger blame lies at the feet of the Democrat Party, that out of 330 million people, this decrepit husk of an old man, this bigot, this racist, is the person they chose for their candidate. And now he's the commander in chief. Look, it's clear China sent 52 aircraft into the airspace of Taiwan. We've surrendered in Afghanistan. And this is the guy who's 20 feet from the nuclear football. That should have everybody, including our brothers and cousins in the UK, very, very concerned.
Well, of course, there are many supporters of Biden that would challenge what you've said about, if he's racist and if he's up to the job. But the bottom line is the polls are not looking good, Sebastian.
The polls, he is in a tailspin. Think about it. Just 9 months in, and this man's popularity is tanking. Not only that, those who voted for him are having buyer's remorse and waking up. Now that we're allowed to talk about his son, the infamous laptop from hell with the videos of Hunter Biden cavorting with hookers, taking crack, the phone calls with talking about his work with the Chinese government. We have a poll now from a reputable polling company about Democrats saying if they had known of the Hunter Biden laptop, if it hadn't been censored by Twitter and Facebook, 20% of them, Mark, would not have voted for Joe Biden. So yes, I think people are finally waking. It took Jimmy Carter at least 4 years to tank the economy, to get us into the Iranian hostage crisis. This man has created a chaos, an utter shower in less than 12 months. And by the way, if you voted for him, it's on you, my friends.
Can we talk about some of the theatre of the White House? Because the president has used a fake White House studio set for video calls and televised events. It's been mocked by opponents as proof that his administration relies on smoke and mirrors. I don't know if we've got any shots of this, but it's remarkable stuff. Some of the video calls that the president has made have been in front of what appears to be a White House window, except he's actually in a studio set. And indeed, some of the footage of him being vaccinated, again, appears to be in this fictional West Wing style environment.
Yeah, this is the perhaps the weirdest aspect of this administration, and this is a sensitive issue for me because I hate conspiracy theories. It's all an evil ploy, and Obama is directing things from the background. But when I first saw that tweet or that photograph of that fake Oval Office stage, I looked at my phone and I said, this is Photoshop. Somebody's just pulling my leg. Yeah, that one. I thought this is not true. It's just a fake, a fraud. And then I find out this is real. Outside of the White House, across the street in the Eisenhower building, they've built a whole set to mimic the White House. Why? Why on earth does he have to be closer to the medical clinic? Does he have to be closer to the medical supplies they pump him with so he can function? You're working. I work there. You're working in the most famous, recognizable piece of real estate on the planet, but you have to build a replica across the street in another building. Makes you scratch your head. What is going on? But you're right. It creates this confirmation that this is a Potemkin village. Nothing is real about this administration, which is probably why we have a certain question with regards to the last election as well. How much is real when it comes to the results of November? So the whole thing is a facade. It is a farrago, Mark.
There are millions of calls, Sebastian, supportive of the president, of Joe Biden, and he's made himself popular in some quarters by restoring environmental protections to 3 national monuments and their vast expanse of vital ecosystems and sacred indigenous spaces, reversing cuts made by Donald Trump. This will be popular, surely.
I'm not sure if you're trying to wind me up or have a good giggle, but seriously, I've got a former friend of mine, former Air Force colonel, involved in special operations, an amazing patriot. He's trying to rescue by himself with self-funded donations hundreds of Americans and American visa holders trapped in Kabul, trapped in Afghanistan because of Joe Biden. We had 9,000 Haitians illegally cross the border, camp out under a bridge in Texas. I mean, just third world conditions created by this man. And his priority is what? Endangered species and the lesser spotted newt. I mean, look, I appreciate Monty Python as much as the next guy, but I don't want Monty Python level absurdity and surrealism to actually be, the guiding principle of the most powerful nation in the world. So as far as I'm concerned, his days are numbered. They're going to shuffle him off, and cackling Kamala will be in the White House very soon. And it probably won't be much of an improvement.
Yes, I mean, I was going to ask you finally about that, of how you see this going. And clearly, the president, Joe Biden, is less coherent than he ever has been. And I don't think he's going to get any more coherent anytime soon. What do you think the timeline might be for this? I mean, do you see Kamala Harris entering the White House within the year?
Yeah, I think within the calendar year, and I think it depends on the effects of the border. If there is another terrorist attack, we know ISIS, Al-Qaeda are streaming back to Afghanistan. We have an open southern border. Will they be reconstituting themselves in the United States? If there's a terrorist attack, absolutely. And of course, there's the exogenous aspect. I mean, Donald Trump, my old boss, President Trump, just had an amazing rally last night. I saw him in Trump Tower not too long ago. I am convinced of the fact that he's going to declare his candidacy for the White House imminently. And if he keeps filling stadia the way he's filling right now, I think very, very rapidly, Joe Biden is going to be deemed a liability, an albatross around the neck of the Democrats that they have to get rid of. And Kamala will be the appointed successor. So, yeah, I give it a couple of months.
Sebastian Gorka is the meteorite of political radio broadcasting in the United States. You can find him on Twitter at Seb Gorka. Sebastian, is there any way for my viewers to hear your radio show?
Yeah, absolutely. 3 hours a day, 3 to 6 Eastern DC time. You just go to Rumble. We stream the video at rumble.com. That's the free speech alternative to YouTube. That's rumble.com/Seb Gorka. Or just go to my website and there's a feed right there. It's sebgorka.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And I really appreciate the shout out.
Oh, definitely. Come and join us again soon, Sebastian. Thanks very much for your analysis of everything stateside. Sebastian Gorka there, former presidential advisor and nationwide radio broadcaster